Welcome to Xero-Sci, your gateway to captivating audiobooks that spark the imagination. Sit back, relax, and let the story unfold. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more amazing journeys. Borg Ascendance, Shadows of the Collective, a Star Trek fan story, by Eric Thorup. Chapter 2, The Catastrophic Confrontation. The memory regression device pulsed in the dimly lit chamber, its crystalline lattice shimmering with eerie luminescence as it began to unveil the dark echoes of a time long past. The Enterprise crew gathered in tense silence, their eyes fixed upon the slowly emerging images. At first what appeared was a tranquil vista of an advanced Borg society, a network of laboratories, meditative corridors, and bustling centers of cybernetic innovation. Individual Borg, brilliant and independent in their own right, collaborated like finely tuned instruments in a grand cosmic symphony, each contributing to a collective mosaic of hope and progress. Yet, as the images deepened, so did the portent of what was about to be revealed. A sudden, discordant note shattered the calm and the regressed memories. The atmosphere on screen, once vibrant with calculated precision, spiraled into chaos. The recollections morphed into scenes of trembling structures and frantic motion as an alien engineered nanovirus, born of an accidental communion with an ancient cosmic force, was unleashed without warning. The virus, shimmering with metallic malevolence, seethed its way through the Borg's integrated biological and cybernetic systems, turning order into pandemonium. There was a momentary stillness, a calm before the storm, when the early Borg, so adept at innovation, found themselves facing the unimaginable. 7 of 9's steady voice, soft and analytical, broke the silence in the room.
"I can see it now,"
she murmured, her eyes narrowing as she focused on the flashes of light and devastation flickering before them.
"This is the moment the nanovirus broke free. It spread like wildfire, disrupting every carefully calibrated network."
Captain Picard's gaze was fixed intently on the regressed images. His deep-set eyes bore the weight of years of exploration and the burden of witnessing history unfold once again through these spectral memories.
The Borg were at their zenith of innovation,
he began, his voice resonant with measured gravitas.
And, in a single, catastrophic moment, the very technology that defined them turned against their fragile balance.
The scene on the display shifted rapidly. A grand hall of sleek technological splendor now twisted into a battleground of erratic energy fields and disjointed neural interfaces. The nanovirus, visualized as a swirling mass of tiny, insidious sparks, infiltrated assay after assay, every burst of light marking the onset of destruction. Borg individuals caught in mid-process, as they experimented with revolutionary cybernetic integrations, were suddenly thrown into disarray. Their once sure steps and precise movements became erratic as their physical forms, and digital consciousness were assailed by the rogue code. Data, analyzing the cascade of events, intoned in his measured tone from his station near the viewing console.
The images indicate that the nanovirus initiated a series of malfunctions at the molecular level. Biological and mechanical systems that were once harmoniously integrated began to fail in concert.
He paused, allowing the gravity of his observations to sink in.
It appears that the cosmic force, of which we have only fragmented data, inadvertently engineered this virus. The resulting disruption was beyond anything their systems could adapt to immediately.
Within the memories, a commanding figure emerged, a distinguished scientist, her features resolute amidst the chaos. She was the architect of early innovations, the visionary who had labored tirelessly to harness the potential of the nanobots for protection. Now, as the virus surged forth, her expression hardened with determination. She raced across the sprawling laboratory, her mind in constant calculation, seeking a pathway to counteract the virulent threat. Her hands moved with desperate precision, her actions both a ballet and a battle for survival. She initiated protocols designed to quarantine segments of the cybernetic network, murmuring urgent commands to colleagues and systems alike. A surge of static ravaged the holographic images, and then, as if time had contracted into seconds, the dramatic confrontation unfolded in excruciating detail. Automated systems whirred uncontrollably, their data streams scrambling in frenetic disarray. The scientist, standing at a control nexus, watched as varying degrees of chaos rippled through the facility. In one split-second moment, an entire array of nanobots, those modified in previous experiments for the sake of order and adaptation, turned hostile, repurposed by the virus to shatter the very framework they had once supported. In a low, reflective voice that reached out from the depths of his mind, Captain Picard whispered,
This is not just a technical failure. It is a breakdown of trust between technology and its creators.
In a separate memory pane, an alarmingly vivid scene painted the arrival of the ancient cosmic force. A force nearly imperceptible at first, its presence hinted at by subtle distortions in light and heat. Initially it was nothing more than a spectral shimmer at the horizon of the Borg's scientific outposts, something exotic and rarely encountered. But as it drew closer, the force exuded an unworldly radiance that overwhelmed ambient sensors and defied the natural order. Within moments, its faint outline burgeoned into a pulsating mass of energy capable of altering the fabric of reality. This cosmic entity, enigmatic and impassive, became the unwitting progenitor of the nanovirus that would devastate the Borg's sophisticated societal apparatus. The memory regression chamber trembled with silent intensity as the images danced between epochs of calm intelligence and savage collapse. 7 of 9's internal thoughts raced with analytical precision, intermingled with a rare, almost palpable sorrow.
They had everything, remarkable potential, and a vision for evolution.
She contemplated quietly.
Yet, the encounter with that ancient force stripped them of their brilliance, leaving behind only fragments of chaos and regret.
Her mind traced the events meticulously, noting every cascade of data, every viral incursion that saturated the Borg network with devastation. In another corner of the memory, the viewer was given a glimpse into the very heart of the collapse. A group of Borgs, whose individuality had once shone with fierce intelligence, now moved sluggishly and erratically. Their cybernetic interfaces glowed intermittently, each failing light a symbol of a decaying system, their synaptic links collapsing under the rampant assault of the viral code. They bumbled through abandoned corridors that once buzzed with purposeful activity. The meticulous order of their society was now marred by flickering electronics and the cacophony of failing systems. Data's gentle commentary resumed as he meticulously catalogued the disparate fragments.
The nanovirus appears to have targeted the fundamental integration points between biological and cybernetic functions. This attack induced widespread systemic failure, not by sheer brute force, but by exploiting essential vulnerabilities in their design.
He paused, his electronic mind racing through possible analogies.
It was as though the virus challenged the very premise of their existence, a test of adaptation that ultimately exceeded their capacity for innovation at that moment.
The recollections shifted, and now the memory conveyed the desperate measures undertaken by the scientist. With a sense of urgency, she initiated a protocol that was both an experiment and a last resort, a calculated attempt to re-engineer the nanobots themselves, repurposing them to form a mutable shield around the collapsing network. Her fingers danced over interfaces, her eyes scanning lines of data with unparalleled focus.
We must adapt,
She had said, her voice trembling, yet resolute.
Let this virus be a catalyst for a new paradigm, one where our tools are both our creation and our salvation.
It was a command filled with resolve, the quiet echo of a soul preparing to harness catastrophe for survival. As the memory flowed on, the recollections became even more visceral. The scientists' lab transformed into a quasi-battlefield, where surviving Borg scientists rallied around her in a desperate bid to establish a temporary sanctuary against the encroaching turmoil. Their efforts were fraught with tension. Bursts of controlled energy streams sporadically lit up their faces, eyes gleaming with frantic hope amid despair. Every action, every command was executed with the inevitability of a final stand, a moment in time where adaptation was not just an option, but an absolute necessity for survival. Captain Picard's voice broke the overwhelming silence that seemed to seep from the memory.
We are witnessing the catastrophic moment when an advanced civilization was forced to confront the inherent costs of technological progress,
He said, his tone both somber and resolute.
In this universe, the drive to evolve comes at an immense price. Their hubris and hope, combined, led them to this very precipice.
The recollections took on the narrative of a society in decline. The devastation was depicted in intense detail. Luminous panels flickered erratically, casting erratic shadows over the smooth, spine-like corridors of a once impregnable network. Faint, distorted cries of those caught in the digital and biological collapse were heard on an ethereal layer of sound that transcended conventional speech. At the core of the chaos, the memory of the brilliant scientist endured. Her face, a study in determination and sorrow, was etched against the backdrop of a fading system. With every calculated move, she sought to stave off the relentless assault that threatened to tear apart the very essence of her people. In a quiet corner of the Enterprise, Data recorded every detail in perfect, measured cadence.
The observations suggest that the confrontation initiated a phase of existential questioning among the Borg. The alien nanovirus introduced an anomaly, a variable that forced them to reassess the bounds of their creative and destructive capacities. It was a crucible of evolution, one that evaluated not only technology, but the indomitable will to survive.
His observation, rich in technical precision, yet imbued with the subtle awe of a scholar witnessing the collapse of order, resonated with the crew's collective anxiety. For 7 of 9, the weight of these memories was palpable. She recalled in visceral flashes the moment she had seen herself, as part of the Borg legacy, witness an event that split the fabric of her previous existence.
To understand our past is to understand the price of progress,
She thought, her mind echoing with the fragmented voices of Borg individuals who had once been at the forefront of innovation, only to be overwhelmed by chaos.
The fundamental truth has always been that evolution demands sacrifice. Not every innovation finds a place in the tapestry of survival.
The memory then subtly introduced an unexpected element. The impact of the ancient cosmic force had not been solely destructive. In the deepest recesses of the chaos, some Borg units, perhaps guided by sheer instinct or an inherent capacity to adapt, had begun to recalibrate their internal systems even as the virus ravaged others. This nascent cybernetic adaptation, while insufficient to stem the tide of collapse, hinted at a future where the lessons of this catastrophic confrontation might foster a new form of evolution. It was as if, in the heart of degradation, a spark of resilience was being kindled, a whisper that, from the deepest turmoil, something refined could eventually emerge. In one particularly harrowing sequence captured by the memory, a group of Borg scientists, a mosaic of brilliant minds fused with machine, banded together in a last-ditch effort to isolate the virus. They retreated into a dimly lit chamber lined with advanced computational matrices and shelves of arcane, glimmering technologies. The air was thick with the static hum of desperate calculations.
We must not let this chaos define us. Reconfigure the nanobots, tavented them to form a defensive barrier. Trust in our capacity to adapt, for it is the only path back from the brink.
Her words reverberated off the cold, metallic surfaces, echoing in the memory as a final stand against inevitable entropy. The confrontation was not merely a battle against a virus, it was an existential struggle. the very essence of what it meant to be Borg, technologically advanced, fiercely independent, yet united by a shared ideal, was at stake. The virus, in its relentless spread, forced the society to confront the paradox of progress, that the marvels they had created to elevate their existence could, in a single catastrophic moment, become the instruments of their undoing. Picard's eyes, locked on the luminous memory, shimmered with both profound sorrow and a spark of analytical clarity.
In every pursuit of knowledge and advancement, there exists the burden of unforeseen consequences.
He mused softly, more to himself than anyone in the chamber.
The Borg's tragedy is not merely theirs to bear. It reminds us that every step forward in technology must be tempered with caution and humility. Evolution is a double-edged sword.
As the sequence unfolded further, the memory began to slowly fade, the chaotic frenzy, into a somber quiet. The final images revealed a lingering calm, a temporary, fragile peace, born of collective mourning and a dawning realization of the costs of relentless ambition. The brilliant scientist's form became a silhouette against the backdrop of flickering, failing systems, a haunting reminder of both her sacrifice and the society's lost potential. The remnants of what was once a thriving civilization now stood as echoes in the void, mere memories etched into the digital tapestry of time. In the quiet that followed, the Enterprise crew sat in reflective silence, each lost in their own thoughts. Seven of Nine's gaze was distant, weighing the profound implications of what she had just witnessed.
They fought so hard to master their own creation.
She observed softly, almost in disbelief.
And yet, in the end, that very mastery turned into a force that nearly consumed them entirely.
Data, ever the keeper of objective truth, added.
This reconfrontation of their past serves as a reminder that adaptation, while necessary for survival, is fraught with unforeseen costs. The event not only destabilized their systems, but also redefined their trajectory as a civilization. Their pursuit to harness technology's potential ultimately paved the way for both innovation and devastation.
Captain Picard's measured tone broke the reflective quiet.
We must learn from these recollections,
He declared solemnly, addressing his assembled crew.
The catastrophic confrontation of the early Borg is a lesson in the delicate balance between creation and destruction. It is a testament to the unyielding need to adapt in the face of adversity, and yet it also warns us of the peril that lies in unchecked ambition.
The echoes of the memory session began to fade, replaced by the steady hum of the Enterprise's engines and the soft buzz of preparation for the next phase of their journey. In that moment, the crew understood that the confrontation was not merely a historical recounting. It was a vivid tapestry of survival, innovation, and the harsh realities of technological progress. There was an unmistakable kinship, albeit distant, between the trials of the Borg and the eternal quest of Starfleet to understand the interplay between risk and evolution. Standing before the regressed images, Captain Picard allowed himself a brief pause, a moment of introspection before the weight of command urged him forward.
This chapter of history,
He murmured, his voice imbued with reverence and resolve,
shows that even in the face of cataclysm, the spirit of adaptation endures. It compels us to question and to innovate, while never forgetting the price sometimes paid for such progress.
Thus ended the recollection of a pivotal moment in Borg history, a moment marked by catastrophic disruption, desperate innovation, and a rebirth born from the ashes of near annihilation. The memory regression device, having delivered its dark and powerful tale, now lay dormant, its silent glow a reminder of both the fragility and the resilience of life. The Enterprise crew, though deeply affected, carried forward a newfound understanding. In the interplay of despair and hope, of collapse and rebirth, they saw reflected not just the Borg's painful legacy, but the eternal challenge faced by all civilizations, the struggle to master the tools of progress without becoming enslaved by them. In the days that followed, as the ship sailed deeper into uncharted regions of the Delta Quadrant, the regressed memories of the catastrophic confrontation continued to resonate in every conversation, every thoughtful pause in the corridors of the Enterprise. They were a call to remember that progress is never without peril, that even the most brilliant innovations carry the seeds of potential devastation if left unchecked. And above all, they served as a stirring reminder of the importance of unity, of learning from the failures of the past to inspire a future where the pursuit of advancement does not come at the cost of one's very essence. Later, during a quiet moment on the observation deck, where stars glittered like distant promises of hope, 7 of 9 reflected aloud.
In those final moments of chaos, I saw the faintest glimmer of resolve amid the destruction, a determination to harness even the greatest calamity for the sake of evolution. It is as if the very cosmos demanded that even in our most devastating failures, there is a path to redemption.
Data, joining her side, responded with soft clarity.
Indeed, miss. The interplay of technological ambition and existential risk is a recurring theme in every advanced civilization. The Borg tragedy exemplifies that balance, an eternal dance between creation and destruction, where every cycle of innovation carries with it the burden of potential collapse.
Picard, who had been silently absorbing these reflections, finally spoke.
Let us remember that even in our darkest recollections, there lies an opportunity to learn. The confrontation that unraveled the Borg society is a stark testament to the consequences of our endeavors. Our duty now is to navigate that precarious balance with the wisdom of those who came before us.
In that quiet interlude, the Enterprise continued its journey, a living embodiment of hope, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to understand the complex tapestry of life and technology. The catastrophic confrontation, as vivid in memory as any scar upon the soul, had become a beacon guiding them forward, a cautionary tale, yes, but also a source of inspiration in their ceaseless quest for knowledge. Thus, the unyielding pulse of the stars, mingled with the lingering whispers of a lost civilization, accompanied the crew as they ventured deeper into the unknown. Each echo of the Borg's past served as a somber reminder that every innovation, every step into the future, must be tempered by the wisdom of history, a truth as eternal as the cosmos itself. Thanks for listening to Xero-Sci. If you enjoyed today's audiobook, please hit like, subscribe, and share your thoughts. Until next time, keep exploring the power of stories.